What about you with your sister? What's your working relationship?
I resonate with like 1,000% everything that you've said, just because I joke like Nneka's my lifestylist, meaning she styles my life. And it really started at a young age. It's not just two of us, there's four of us, 4 girls. And when I always tell people we fell into basketball and fell in love with it. You know, we didn't think that that was something that would transform our lives. Literally, you know, when you talk about embracing who you are, growing up in Houston, Texas, in the burbs, the only predominant like black woman, black young girl in my classes. I went to Catholic school, then I went to public school. And I'm glad for both, because that's a nice mix to get you ready for the real world. But I'll never forget, you know, growing up, just having that idea that, you know, what I was at that time. You know, I was a girl. It's funny, like, I used to be triggered sitting in a chair like this because all the kids would be able to swing their feet, you know, in school. I used to put, like, books so I could swing my feet, just, like, under me, just so I could be like the rest of the, you know, kids in class. And I was the only, you know, taller than the rest, blacker than the rest, smarter than the rest, though, and outgoing. But oftentimes, if you don't fit the mold, and that's how it felt like growing up, you know, in the 2000s, then you are looked to as less than or different. But different is actually your superpower, because those things that made me different are the reason why I'm in the league. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? They're the reason why I have a voice as a broadcaster. I just wish I knew that earlier so I could step into my confidence earlier.
Did you always know you wanted to be a broadcaster?
Absolutely not. No.
You just stumbled into it?
Yeah, so
You're
by
really
nature,
good.
Thank you. I love to break down the game. I think it's just natural for me because all of these things with basketball is a bonus. Like growing up in a Nigerian household, you know, you're supposed to be doctor, lawyer, engineer, right? But instead, we had parents that were progressive. They saw value in sports. They said, hey, our girls are out here like learning teamwork, camaraderie, work ethic, all those things by playing basketball because someone told them that's what tall girls do. And so we got a lot of benefits, but there was a lot of pushback culturally amongst Nigerians at that time.
And you felt that even at that age, you felt that pushback?
I'll never forget that we went in our jerseys to one of my parents' friends' house on the weekend. And you know, when you're going jersey, like back then we didn't have, like, I didn't know edge control. Like we were 10 years old. Check it. You know, like, thank God for glow-ups.
Your baby hairs weren't laid?
First, my baby hairs are never laid. I still haven't figured that out.
I have to go bunch just to flick it down.
I tried to lay them down and then like, these are African 100%. So I'm like, I've just given up. But yeah, you know, we come to our parents' friend's house. I probably was like 10, Nneka was 11 or 12. Wearing jerseys, sneakers, that's not the norm for what is traditionally expected from 10-year-old girls back then. And we say back then, it was quite recent. And I'll never forget some of my parents' friends would look and they were like, sort of like, why are they wearing this? Like, do they smell? Why aren't they in the kitchen? Why aren't they helping out in the traditional expected ways? But my parents, like, I love the fact that they did not care what they said. We're getting all A's. They needed to put 4 girls into something that would make them tired so that they go to sleep at the end of the night. And all of a sudden, that transformed our lives. And so when I was in school, never being the girl asked to, you know, the dance, you know, because I didn't fit the mold of the Texas little girl, right? But, you know, eventually we started achieving at a high level through hoops. And so, yeah, it's been like a shift. I know what it's like to feel like you go from 0 to 100 because on air, you know, I started really getting my opportunities through SportsCenter in like 2018. But SportsCenter, you're like sitting at a desk like this, right? And then we have the pandemic where we're doing everything in a box. And so all of a sudden I stand up and I'm walking and I'm wearing the clothes that I want to wear so I can represent who I feel I am. And everyone's like, hold up, she got body? Like,
so can I ask you something? In such a male-dominated field, how did you get the respect you deserve?
And do you feel respected?
I absolutely feel respected as a broadcaster. And I think that's because I have realized that people see you and judge you before they hear you and know you. And knowing that as a Black woman speaking on the NBA game that I will never play because I'm a WNBA player, I was like, all right, if they already are coming to me and like saying, why are you talking on the NBA? Well, let me give you what you need to know. And so I usually go with facts, with figures. I'm the one that actually watches the whole games. You know, a lot of times Hall of Famers can sit down and just give you their opinions because they have earned that seat based off of their resume. But me, I have to earn my stripes. And so years of just, you know, putting out there the information, the breakdown, watching the game, people are like, she knows her stuff more than the guys.
Yeah, of course.
By nature of the expectation of perfection for women that put themselves out there.
How far do you want to go with it? Do you want to go like, is it just stay in sports? Do you want to be the next Robin Roberts? Do you want to be?
I would love all of that, but you know what's funny? As I've grown older, at first, like I think we get caught on like, I want to be an all-star, I want to be an MVP, I want to be a champion. But as I've gotten to this point where I start to feel every day the impact of what I do, like I'll walk down the street and like, Chiney, you give Stephen A. Hale, like keep doing that. You know what I mean? And like, or like, Chiney, I'm coming to the Sparks because I saw you on TV and I'm gonna watch you play. Like those types of things have shifted the goalposts for my goals. And I feel like sometimes those labels that we get as athletes, because they're like literally bonuses in our contract.
For sure.
They limit our mindset. And so my number one thing, everything that I do is about impact.
And are you taking that balance, because you do a lot, of like, oh shit, maybe I thought I was gonna play X number of years, maybe I'll play less to focus on broadcasting. Now, are you recalibrating how long you wanna play in the WNBA?
I will tell you this, I don't know how long I wanna play, but the moment I win a championship with my sister, I'm gone.
You out.
I'm gone.
And you wanna focus on other things.
Well, I don't know, it's weird. Like it feels, this is the part that stinks because I work all year to be ready for the WNBA season. And then the WNBA season happens and it's great. But then once it's over, I'm into another season. Similar to other women's basketball players who play year-round, but my job is now on TV. And it's tough because I give my all to everything that I do, but because of the season overlap, sometimes I have to miss work in the playoffs so that I can be there in training camp. You know, so it's like, you never feel like you're getting everything that you need. But one thing I've realized is basketball is the thing that grounds me. And so, like, when I think about my sister and I, we won in high school, we won in AAU. And the only thing left for me is winning a championship with her.
Well, there's one more thing. I read somewhere you guys are trying to play for the Nigerian national team.
That's true.
And also, Nigeria has a new president.
Yes.
You guys, and how much do you pay attention to what's going on in Nigeria? And, you know, obviously, there's been an economic crisis, and are you guys feeling this is the president that can turn things around?
Yeah, narrative with Nigeria is always so unique to me because people tend to talk about Africa as a whole, the continent, through crisis, through, you know, if it bleeds, it leads, those types of things. But at one point, Nigeria had, I believe, the 4th fastest growing economy in the world. Nigeria is the most populous country in Africa, and 70% of its population is under 30 years old.
Crazy.
Why is that?
Healthcare probably got,
probably
healthcare is
right.
Yeah, and just like, but also like you think about health and through the crisis lens, you also have some of the greatest longevity for those who live older because they're eating all natural, right? But there are crises too that people hear about. I'm Nigerian, I'm Igbo, so Biafra is definitely embedded. Biafra was a movement in which the Igbos sort of tried to exert their independence, but it didn't work out well. So like my dad grew up in Nigeria in the Southeast and was like his father and himself and his whole generation are survivors of a war as well. And like being born in Houston, Texas, I'm dealing with a lot of the intricacies of the diaspora.
Of course.
But with the elections, it's been heartbreaking because when we talk about that huge youth population, they really created some powerful movements, the same way the youth here did with Black Lives Matter and all the work that everyone did. There was an End SARS movement that really tried to liberate Nigerians as a whole through the youth. And so even though this election, let me just say, I am very optimistic about the activism that we're seeing globally.